Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I am in the middle of the Spring into Horror Readathon, which is a 2 week long reading marathon of reading horror novels. This is my bookmark for reading Meg, which is what I'm currently reading, along with many things. I haven't finished anything yet, but I'm reading tons of things. Anyway, I thought I would take a little break from reading and watch some movies and do a horror double bill, so I'm going to roll the die and then just go down to horror and then go over to whatever number I roll and watch that movie, provided I haven't seen it. And if I've seen it, we'll have to come up with something else. So I got a 7. Number 7. So let's go down to horror. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Horror story. Oh man. I tried watching this. I think I tried watching this. On a dare, 7 college friends spend a night in an abandoned hotel rumored to be haunted and find themselves trapped in a nightmare. Uh... Oh, no, I haven't seen this. This is an Indian film, an international film. It's directed by Ayush Raina, starring Karan Kundra, Nishant Malkani, and Hassan Zaidi. Okay, no, definitely. This is not the one I was thinking of. Okay, well, how more like perfectly to start than with a movie called Horror Story. Horror Story. All right, I thought this was something else. There was something that was very similar. I know, bunch of college kids hear of some kind of supernatural or horrific thing, and it all goes horribly wrong. So this will actually be really interesting. It's only an hour and 25 minutes, and I'm really curious to see what Horror Story is all about. So I'll be back in a bit. All right, I'm really curious. Really curious. All right. Okay, so I have finished watching Horror Story, which is from 2013, and it is an Indian horror movie, and it's in Hindi, mostly. Sometimes it's in English, sometimes they were speaking English, and sometimes they were speaking Hindi. And when it was in Hindi, there were subtitles, but when they were speaking English, there weren't. So it took a while to sort of adjust to, am I reading, am I listening and reading? But I finally got the hang of it. So this is certainly a pretty traditional horror movie, supernatural horror movie of a bunch of friends hear a story, like an urban legend, or not so much an urban legend, but they hear about a place that is haunted or has a mysterious past and horrible things happen there. So of course, we're all at the bar and drinking, so why don't we go check it out? The start of so many horror movies. I really, it was kind of funny because the pace of this one was a little different than I expected. It was over the top. It was very at times it was very melodramatic, and a lot of times you could really tell by the sound or the cues like when something was going to happen. But I think right now I kind of appreciated that. Like I wasn't feeling like getting totally freaked out. I kind of just like wanted to watch a scary movie, and this was a scary movie. I didn't get scared too many times, but I did find that there were some scary moments. So for me, internally, it was weird because the pacing, normally I might feel like, oh, that it's telecasting or it's broadcasting a little too much in terms of what's going to happen. But for right now, that was actually perfect. I actually kind of just really liked sort of like knowing when things are going to happen and, all of that crazy stuff. One thing though, sometimes it was hard to tell what was going on in terms of like the characters were reacting to something. They were scared about something, but they were telling us they were scared, but they weren't showing us why they were scared. Either it was a very quick cut after, the scary thing, or there wasn't enough visual cues in terms of why what was going on was scary, just that they're freaked out and they were screaming, not talking, and saying whatever, saying something to explain. Like, I can't believe it is a blank, or whatever. Or how could it be blank? Explaining thingy. So it was more just like lots of screaming and running around in certain more than like several times that happened. It was just like, okay, I can tell they're scared, but I don't know why they're scared. And the music is making things scary, and the fact that they're scared is making things scary, but I'm not scared because I don't know why they're scared. So there was that. But overall, I thought it was pretty fun, and I did enjoy it. And it was kind of kind of good for the tempo that I was feeling right now. Although overall, I think if you watch a lot of scary movies, it might feel a little melodramatic, and really you're going to know when things happen. So I think it depends on your mood, in terms of whether it's a good fit. For me, it was a good fit for my mood, and it was cool to watch an Indian horror movie. And sometimes it can be challenging to watch a horror movie when there's subtitles, but this one I thought it was pretty good. It was pretty good. It just took a little while for me to adjust to listening when they were speaking English to and then switching back and forth. And there was a couple things that they said. It was like, oh, and there was like subtitles, and I'm like, I think they said something a little bit different. There was one because someone said something, and it felt like they were saying WTF, and but what came up was like, how could that be? And I'm like, no, I think they said WTF. So anyway, so let's go with another movie. I was tempted to. It says it's recommending this one because of my interest in The Windmill, and which is a film that came up on Netflix recently. And I think, you know what? Instead of rolling the die, because I can just, when I look at these, I'm like, I've seen this, I've seen this, I've seen this, I've seen this. I haven't seen that. Like, I've seen a lot of them, but I am curious about The Windmill, and it's right there. So I think I'm gonna go and watch The Windmill. Let's hear a bit about what it's about. It is, oh, it's a Dutch movie. It's a Dutch movie. Seeking shelter near a historic windmill, a group of tourists fall prey to a bloodthirsty miller from a legend who's in a league. I won't say the rest of it because it might be spoilery. So this is directed by Nick Jongeris, starring Charlotte Beaumont, Bart Cleaver, and Noah Taylor. Noah Taylor? That is familiar. Man, it's gonna have subtitles though. I'm a little tired. Sometimes it's harder to watch with subtitles, but I want to do it. I want to watch The Windmill because I'm curious to see what that is about. And I guess this will be an international horror double bill. So I'll be back in a bit with my thoughts on The Windmill. Thanks for watching. Okay, I have now watched The Windmill, and this is a Dutch horror film. And it was set in the Netherlands or Holland, and focuses on a group of random sort of people that end up going on a tour, like on a bus tour to see windmills, and then of course it all horribly goes wrong because it's a horror movie. It's kind of funny. There's actually quite a few, not parallels, but quite a few similarities between Horror Story and this. This was actually mostly in English. Sometimes they were speaking Dutch and some other languages too, but generally it's in English. And that was in Horror Story was a combination of had English in it as well, even though it was mostly in Hindi. And then this one also, there's a sort of legend or mystery or curse or something like that. This one, Horror Story people actively went out to see it. They kind of stumble on it, which is also a very like something that happens a lot in horror movies. And this one, I actually thought the story was quite good. Not only the story of the mystery of the windmill, but also the story of the characters as well. And I liked quite a few of the characters. Not all of the characters. It's kind of funny because some characters you're always supposed to not like, but I felt like in this one there were a couple that was beyond just not liking. It's like really aggressively not liking. And sometimes horror movies do that, so you get excited or happy when they don't make it. Which isn't a great thing. One thing I would just mention about this one is that the violence is very graphic. It is very, very graphic, very explicit, and I wasn't expecting that. It doesn't really bother me, but like in this instance, it didn't really bother me because it also wasn't sort of like all the time, but just like when it happened, they really went for the effects and like really strongly showed stuff, and I was like, wow, like just a completely different tone from the rest of the movie, which just sort of felt like a regular movie, and I was like, wow, that was over the top. So just fair warning for that kind of thing. But overall, I think I thought it was pretty entertaining. It was kind of cool to see a Dutch movie. I don't know if I've seen a Dutch movie. I have a feeling I might have seen another Dutch horror movie. I didn't think that like I don't even know if that's its own sort of subgenre going on. But it was cool to see something set in Holland and something filmed in Holland, and that was pretty fun in and of itself. So there you go. That was The Windmill. I had fun watching that, and I wonder what I will end up picking next. And it was actually excellent to watch it because it ended up being I ended up watching it during the Readathon of Kings, which is in celebration of Dutch literature. So it's just like all things Dutch at the moment for this half of the double bill. Anyway, there you go. That was The Windmill. Let me know if you've seen it and what your thoughts are on it or on Horror Story. So thanks for watching.